Greetings duelists, and welcome to another video. As you guys probably already know, the OCG Forbidden Limited list that is due for July of 2025 has already taken into effect, and it's not a really big list at all. Like there's not many significant changes that are happening here. But before we talk about the OCG list and what does it mean for the OCG as a whole, I kind of want to recap the OCG format for a little bit. As of late, Vanquish Soul has been the most dominant strategy out there. It has been topping consistently every week and has been winning like major events every week or so. Yummy, Malice, and Dracotail, which are like the two other Justice Hunter decks and like the biggest deck we have in the TCG at the moment. Those decks are as strong. However, there is something that separates Vanquish Soul K9 from the other strategies. We also have Sky Striker, Lunalight, White Forest. Those decks are as strong, but not strong enough. Like those decks would be like they're very similar to like how they are operating in the TCG. Not Lunalight and Sky Striker, but more so like stuff like White Forest. Like, and I will say this Banlist will hurt White Forest. You're probably going to see White Forest topping way less than it is currently at the moment. Well, maybe not way less, but maybe a little bit less. But yeah, for the most part, outside of Vanquish and the Justice Hunter decks and Malice, there's not that many strategies that are very dominant in the OCG, which you can make the argument whether or not it's safe to be in a good format like the OCG. There is something that Vanquish Soul has besides the other decks that is very, very degenerate. And the OCG actually addresses that, which is something that I actually like. Yeah, let's go straight to the list. So, Forbidden, we got Appaloosa, Bow the Goddess, and number 67, Paradise Smasher. We don't have to spend too much time on Appaloosa. We already have this Forbidden in the TCG. We had it Forbidden for a while now. And I think it's safe to say this is a very good move on OCG's part. Like, if we look at the top meta decks, the only real strategy that has been playing Appaloosa is Malice. Like, outside of Malice, not many other strategies that are dominant in the OCG are playing this. And let's be honest, a lot of people just don't like playing against Malice. Malice, for the most part, is not overthrowing the entire format. However, it has been consistently topping every week or so, and one of the main takeaways from Malice is the fact that they can play Appaloosa. With Appaloosa gone from the game, now Malice is a lot more vulnerable to stuff like Nibiru. Like OCG players actually have to like think their plays through a little bit more. They still have Link Decoder, which is a very, very strong card. But with Dormouse already limited, I think this is a really good change. Let's talk about Paradise Smasher. Every single Vanquish Soul list that you'll see playing the K9 cards will play Paradise Smasher. That card is ridiculously easy to summon in that deck. Like, even though Jokel and Lantern have the restriction of not summoning light XYZ monsters, Izuna and Lupus do not. And that's really big because let's say, for example, you're playing the Vanquish Soul strategy and your opponent decides to hand trap you at least once and you have Izuna on your hand. All of a sudden, you have access to Paradise Smasher, and the Paradise Smasher is protected by Lupus. So you cannot imperm it, you cannot Valor it, like you cannot Ghost Mourner it, and ideally it will be under 5 summons if your opponent hand traps you early, so you're safe from Nibiru as well. If Paradise Smasher resolves, like it's pretty much curtains. A lot of strategies cannot play through that. Even the Vanquish Soul Mirror match, like it kind of solos the deck because the deck is super monster heavy. So yeah, Paradise Smasher being gone, really good, really good. That was a very heads up move. Will this be enough to put Vanquish Soul Canine to like a lesser degree and not be as dominant? I cannot say for sure. I think the Vanquish Soul Canine has a lot of things going for it that just makes the strategy very absurd. However, like hitting Paradise Smasher is a step in the right direction. For limited, we got Anti-Spell Fragrance and Griffin Rider. We already have Griffin Rider in the TCG. I recently built a Malice deck profile involving Griffin. If you want to check that out, it's in the it's one of my deck reports. Well, a couple of them actually. I don't think the Adventure Engine is strong at all. Like, it's not going to be better than K9 as an engine for other decks. So yeah, I think Griffin Rider coming back is perfectly fine. This can come back to 3, and I don't think anybody will bat an eye on it. The only thing I'm afraid of when it comes to Griffin is, let's see if we can find the card. It's this card right here, Harpy's Featherstorm. If you play this engine and you play like something like Thrust in your deck, Griffin is a winged beast, so you can pair it up with Featherstone. That's the only degenerate thing I can think of at the top of my head when it comes to the Adventure Engine. Outside of that, I think the Adventure Engine is just fine. In fact, let's see. Okay, so that's the only card hit, because I remember in the past that the other cards from the Adventure Engine were hit in the OCG. Yeah, welcome back, Griffin Rider. Jet and Mass Change are going to 2. They should just be unlimited by now. Like, I think with Sprite Elf being forbidden, there's no reason why this other Sprite cards should stay limited in the OCG. Like, we've had Sprite at full power for a long while now, and it hasn't done anything. I think Sprite Elf was the right hit, and at least the TCG saw that. Speaking of Sprite Elf, we got a monster very similar to Sprite Elf that came back in the OCG, and that is Nightmare Goblin. When Nightmares first arrived in the competitive scene, they were like very splashable. They were overthrown. We were thinking that these cards were not going to be power crept, and sadly enough, they are. Some people still play Nightmare Phoenix as a back row disruption, but like the best that they can play that is probably Malice. And yeah, you don't see Nightmare Griffin because Nightmare Griffin is not a Cybers, and most of the decks are playing like Cybers Pile. Which is strange to say, right? Because you see Appaloosa, and Appaloosa is not a Cybers, but it's same with SP Little Knight, but I digress. Nightmare Goblin I think is fine. I think this card can come back in the TCG, and I don't think it will do anything. In order to get its effect off properly, you need to link climb multiple times, and outside of Malice, I cannot think of any other link centric strategy that's relevant at the moment that can summon Nightmare Goblin. It is a Fiend type monster, so you could have it on Fiend pile decks, But female decks have not done much as of late, which will come to the discussion of Nightmare Throne in a little bit. But yeah, welcome back, Nightmare Goblin. I think Trident is getting unlimited, if I'm not mistaken. It's limited in the OCG. I think we're fine when it comes to Zodiac. They still have Prop Bull banned, so I think it's perfectly fine. Rapier is still limited. That is the big problem card with Zodiac. Hot take. Now, I don't know if it's a hot take or not. I think if you errata Rapier to be hard walks per turn, I think this card can come back to unlimited. But that's another discussion for another time. Yeah. I have no like. We have better rank 4s. Like, I mean, obviously this is not generic, but like we have Raziel Detonator at 3 in the OCG. We have it limited in the TCG, and this card's just better in Trident. Okay, so match change. This should just come back to 3. We have it at 3 in the TCG. Like, the last time this card was relevant was during Ichizu Tier 11 format. And outside of that, we haven't seen this card done anything else. Like, you would think if this card was good enough, people would play it in something like Mr. Ruby by now. But yeah, that's not been the case. All these cards are getting unlimited. None of these matter. Like, we already have this, and this at 3. I'm surprised Fusion Destiny is still at 2 to this day. Welcome back, Labyrinth. Labyrinth is a competent deck. I have done a deck report on Labyrinth a few weeks ago. I think the deck is quite solid, but nothing like too meta impactful. They got Trapaholic from Duelist Advanced, and that didn't do anything. So, yeah. I think they just managed to hit Labyrinth in a point where they were quite relevant because of rollback coming into the OCG. So they kind of wanted to control that for a little bit, but trap decks have not been relevant whatsoever for a while now. And that's sad to say because, like, you know, these cards, these cards are trap deck now. Like, there are no better trap cards being played in like meta strategies than these at the moment. Labyrinth can finally play this and this. Other trap decks can play all 3. And yeah. Second hot take. I think this card should get limited someday. I know that its restriction is harsh for a lot of strategies, and decks that play K9, decks that play Draco Tail, decks that are probably not named Malice at the moment, or Lunalight, cannot play this card. But you know, this is solemn warning on legs. Well, as a hand trap, I just personally think this card shouldn't be a 3rd, especially in the TCG since Mitsurugi are playing it. Well, Pure Mitsurugi and Mitsurugi Orchestra rather. But yeah, that's it for the OCG. Will this change the current meta game that is happening over here? I don't think it'll change it that much. I still think Vanquish Soul K9 will be the better deck. The numbers will probably dwindle for a fair amount because something that is very degenerate in that strategy is now gone. If they keep dominating like this in the next OCG format, expect a heavy hit to Vanquish Soul. Maybe something like Holy Sue and Izuna, both limited. But that's it from me. I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. More videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep building.